All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to take a quick peek and see what are the signs and the symbols coming out right now, okay? We have got two cards, starting with the 10 of air and the 9 of earth. So that 10 of swords begins us with an energy of, in this case, a real painful ending. Now, we may see a bird, possibly a bird feather, possibly evidence that a bird once upon a time lived here and does not any longer. We may see energies of chamomile flowers, dandelion flowers. Those things could be noticeable, but there's definitely something marks the ending here. But the 9 of Pentacles is an immediate pickup after this ending. Some signs that may be visible today could be things like finding a pet curled up, resting in an unusual location. I mean, this is literally a pet is resting on a centerpiece, almost a fruit bowl or dinner plate, just as comfortable as could be. So noticing the the comfort of one of our animals, our little furry friends or something along those lines, could be the reminder that even though there's been a painful ending, it makes space for better to come in. Now, we may also have, I don't know if somebody's going to be driving by a fairly regal looking building, something that has, a nice frieze to it, something that's quite ornate externally. The building face could be nice brickwork, maybe some carvings. This almost looks like it would be kind of an elaborate old library, or perhaps even something associated with one of the halls of a judicial department in a town. Now, we also have a strong sense of roots, almost like this is buried underneath. So I will say this, all of this coupled together says that although there will be some kind of an ending, and I think our character will be very aware of it, the ending is going to be sharp. It could be deeply disappointing, and then almost immediately the thing that comes to the surface is our character's innermost power. It's as if they rise to the occasion. And again, this could be getting a phone call, getting a letter, getting some kind of disappointing, okay, well, I guess I just read the email and I didn't get the job. That sucks. But then almost immediately we glance across and there's our hedgehog, our pet kitty cat, our favorite little mouse or sugar glider or whatever our little furry friendly pet may be. And it's like, you know what? This is a stark reminder to me that actually life goes on, and I have a ton of abundance, and I have things in my life that I love and things that are important to me. So even if there's a bit of bad news, I think it's going to be immediately squashed by something that comes in that's quite positive. We have the Mayor of Air. So definitely we've got immediately, as one chapter of our life closes, another opens immediately. Now, we may have a masculine who comes into the scene. He could be brown-haired, brown-eyed. He could have a dashing mustache, or seeing simply a mustached man. As a whole, that could be an indicator to keep one's eyes open for the person who's coming in with good news. The Mayor of Air, it's the same as talking about a king of swords. So possibly a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius who comes in. We have the 9 of air. He's coming in to say, guess what? I had some bad news too. Oh my God, I'm thinking Float On by Modest Mouse right now is coming to my mind. We may have a character driving by a graveyard or seeing some little mummified, I'm thinking like an old-fashioned horror movie or something. The Mummy could be like a movie cover or something that a character sees today. And it's ironic that our character is not the only one going through something difficult. They are sharing a difficult moment with a King of Swords, but interestingly enough, it's very calm, it's very peaceful energy, and it's like, yeah, I just got canned today too. Nope, lost my job, but you know what? Somehow, some way, things are going to get better. We have the Selkie. So other symbols for today could be a woman with long red hair, somebody wearing an off-the-shoulder gown or dress or blouse or top. And then we have obviously a seal, because that goes along with the mythology of the Selkies. So the Selkies were typically females that lived in the sea as seals. That was their original form, but they could come up on land and shed their seal skin and be this elegant and usually stunningly gorgeous divine feminine. And oftentimes in different mythological tales, the women would sometimes end up living on land for some period of time, sometimes get married to, a mortal man, maybe have children. And oftentimes, though, they would eventually return to the sea again. So I'm thinking that since we have obviously this sense of freedom and transformation and the desire to transform and go back to something that actually made a character happier, I'm thinking just as, because this is definitely a story about two people. We have one person who's having an ending in their life only to discover that they're way better off for having, been rejected or having something fail or something end. It turns out their life is better for something ending, even though it didn't feel that way at first. I think within a few seconds, our character recognizes like the truth of this. By the way, we have a lot of air energy, so a lot of thoughts today. So it's all kind of Libra, Gemini, Aquarius throughout this entire story. And then we have our second character. And he too is coming in extremely, this is normally somebody who would have a lot of personal power. They would have a lot to say about the world around them. They would have a lot of sway. This could be somebody who's like, running a bigger company or organization. And he too experiences a loss, but it also allows him to return like back to his original plan or back to his original form. So both of these characters were actually doing something in life that didn't suit them very well. They weren't wild and free anymore. They were stuck in confining situations that weren't really right for them. And they're both better off not being in those confining either jobs or organizations or structures. Even something like a task that our character used to think they were going to have to perform. Let's say somebody was going to make this very elaborate dinner, and it was going to be a lot of work, but they had planned it, they'd invited people to this party, and then the whole party has to be canceled. On one hand, okay, that saves our character money and time. It doesn't mean that they didn't want to do this, but that's not the only thing for them to use their talents for. So it's like, God, both of these characters, their hearts are so much happier. Other symbols that our character may see today that could remind them of like how surprising and serendipitous it can be when things get taken away from us and we actually end up happier for having less or for having less complications, could be images of the heart, the human heart, literally just the old-fashioned, the little heart shape that we're also familiar with. But I'm also picturing right now, like literally somebody just seeing the word heart written on something, like heart you, I love you, or, you hold my heart, something like that. We also see the dove flying in the sky here. And we have this heart levitating. This is the Ace of Cups. So this is tremendous amounts of happiness. This is a day where two people transform. It could be a day where plans get canceled, and that allows two people to have the day that they really needed to have, which is maybe a day spent together. Or maybe it's a day where they unexpectedly meet each other because neither one of them had things planned or go out the way they had planned, and that allowed them to do something unusual. What are these characters, since they're both sharing the energy of the Selkie, what are these characters going toward? Capricorn. So in the mythological tale of Capricorn, this actually starts out in Greek mythology with the story of Pan. And Pan was the lusty little rustic god, and he played his pan flutes. And at one point in time, one of the giant sea monsters, one of the titans, was on just a rampage, and he was tearing through the waters and tearing through the land, and he had actually already wounded Zeus and had turned his evil eye over to Pan. And Pan, in his haste to escape the wrath of said monster, he tried to transform himself into a fish in order to escape and leap into the sea. But in his panic, which is where we get that word, he only half transformed himself. And the thing is, although he's now half goat and half fish, he still is quick thinking, and he pops his head up above the water and he plays a particularly sharp and high note on his pan flute. And it's so irksome to the sea monster that he gives up the chase. Well, Zeus, obviously he saved Zeus as well, and Zeus is so thankful to him that he puts Pan up in the night sky in this form of half goat, half fish, and that is how we have Capricorn up in the night sky. And the only reason I mention all of that is because we do have shared energy, and we already had the story of the Selkies, and now we have another story of partial transformation, only now we know that it's a transformation going on in two people's lives, and it feels like this is their reward from Zeus or the creator. It's that some things didn't work out the way you thought they were going to, but guess what? That's the only way these two could meet. I feel like this is two people that are going to be able to merge and meet each other. Now, Capricorn can have like a hardworking energy around it, but I feel like what was more relevant here was less the zodiac of Capricorn and more the storyline behind how we got Capricorn and the story of Pan and the half transformation. That to me says these two characters, they had to have like their worst day ever in order to end up where they needed to be. And it turns out that their worst day leads them to love. These two couldn't have met each other. They may meet someplace by a river, by a water source, since we have water on all three of these, if we add in the story of Pan swimming through the sea and turning himself into a half fish. But we could have, I don't know why I'm thinking somehow that these characters may end up like, if they were intending to go to like some business event, and then they wind up either getting, canceled, or something gets closed off, or they end up losing their job even. I know that sounds terrible, but on the other hand, they may be dressed for half of the event they thought they were going to, and then like, business on top, party on the bottom. It's like, well, I'm still in half of my work clothes, but the whole event got canceled. So now I'm in like suit and tie, but I took off my shoes and socks and I'm wearing flip-flops, and I've got a like a casual visor on, and just everything feels like there's going to be a representation of what they thought their life was going to be, and then what it turned into on this day. They may still wear part of the outfit of what they thought they needed to be dressed like when the day began, and by the midday or end of the day, I feel like midday, I feel like this opportunity to have something totally end up going sideways happens right around the middle of the day. But it turns out so great. It turns out amazing for these characters. Sometimes having cancellations in our schedule, or having something end that we didn't expect to end, it is for us. It is so that we have the freedom to go to the places and meet the people that we're supposed to, and we start the next chapter. So for a little bit of salty, we got a whole lot of sweet coming in. I love this storyline. I love this for these characters. I am so happy for them. I hope that they have an opportunity to like really merge energies, because this is the day two people may meet for the sake of love. This feels like two strangers having a serendipitous meeting. This feels like two people who will have kind of a very funny story to laugh and talk. I'm picturing them actually talking over drinks, like in the late evening, like sitting someplace and getting to know each other and having like hilarious stories of, well, if you want to hear what my day was like today, let me fill you in. This is what went down in my life today. Nothing went the way I thought it was going to, but dang, it's turning out great by nightfall. I'm loving the way the second half of my day has gone after all. This is a new love. This is a quirky story of how a bad day can turn into something absolutely stellar. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. If you don't already know this, I put out many zodiac videos as well, 2 for every zodiac every week, and a few more for those that are my heavier watch groups. You will find all of those in the playlists for whatever zodiac you might be looking for. I also do general readings and singles reads on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Most all of my content is going to be live streamed. Just so you know, check for most things under the live tab. Otherwise, you will see me every morning at 5 a.m. for these short, quick series, our symbols series. All right, guys, thanks again. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and welcome if you're new. Bye.